Hi guys. So there's about 3 weeks left in 2020. Vaya con Dios. No. But I wanted to touch bases and remind you guys, if you received the PPP loan or participated in that PPP program, received the EIDL loans or grants, be aware that as of right now, it's still not allowable to claim the expenses paid with the PPP loan, the PPP funds. It's still not allowable to claim those same expenses on your income tax return. They're not deductible. So I think how the IRS is seeing it right now is that if you received the PPP loan and you used those funds to pay your rent, that you cannot, and then it was forgiven, that's then saying that you've gotten the deduction already. But if you and then they're saying that if you then turn around and use those same expenses on your income tax return, right, then that's considered a double deduction. Sucks, because we were hoping that that was the relief that they were going to give to small businesses. We were hoping that, yes, they gave us the loans. Hooray. And yes, they forgave them because we used it like we were supposed to keep our employees and pay their payroll and your rent and your utilities. And then come tax time, you would get the added benefit of using those expenses as we normally would for your deductions. But that's not the case. So be careful, be aware, don't make the mistake of, if you used PPP funding to pay your normal rent and your utilities and payroll, do not also deduct those expenses on your tax return. I guess you could think it balances out, because if the forgivable amount is also not taxable, right? It's not gonna affect your gross income, so it's not gonna be on your tax return. You could say that then the scale balances out. I think the true hurt of it is for anybody who received the PPP loan and they really didn't feel that pinch on their income side. Like you didn't feel a dip, your income stayed the same or even increased, then you might be aware that your tax liability will be increased, because then those normal deductions, the rent and your payroll and your utilities, are not going to be allowable, right? So again, summary. If you received the PPP loan and it was forgiven, you cannot claim the expenses that you used the PPP loan for. You cannot claim those as deductions. Okay. I think right now the best thing for everybody who received the PPP loan is to get their books in order. Make sure that you have everything called out and applied correctly, right? So when you receive the PPP funds, you should have entered it in as a liability. And then when you receive that notice of forgiveness, then you would have entered that in your books as a other income, right? So because then that way it stands out more on your payroll, stands out more on your P&L. And whoever's preparing your taxes will be able to see it faster and know that, that's not taxable. So, and then as the expenses were incurred and you paid them, right? You would have then have created expense accounts. I would have called it something like PPP, anything that jumped out at you, PPP rent or PPP utilities, to make sure again that you know that, hey, these are separate then from your regular business payouts. But we were hoping for the relief, but the bill didn't come through. It still might, so I would suggest getting your books in order, that if it does happen and maybe they do something that's retroactive, it can be easily found in your accounts, right? So get your books in order, stay ready, you ain't ever got to get ready, okay?